welcome back to the Engine Room. We got another exciting podcast for you. We're going to be diving into the English Premier League, where Arsenal slip up again, just leaving the door wide open for Manchester City. We'll be talking a little bit more about Premier League in terms of Aston Villa and the turnaround under Unai Emery. And then we'll jump over to Spain. We'll talk Barcelona and Xavi just hobbling towards the finish line. We'll talk a little bit of the bottom of the table with Valencia. A lot of people overlooking that one. And then, of course, we will dive into Champions League. We'll talk results. We'll talk predictions. And we might have some twisted takes throughout. So welcome again. And hello to Pablo and Buga. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Yeah, I'm not doing too badly. I'm eagerly awaiting my sirens to go off in about 40 minutes time. So apologies in advance, but we should be okay.
Yes, indeed. We're back to Monday vibes, which includes Pablo's alarms going off in the background. Buga, how are you doing, sir?
And it includes a Buga that had just woken.
It does.
So yes, indeed.
The vibes are perhaps like a little bit slow.
That's okay. Yeah, Buga's wake-up alarm is the sound of this podcast starting on Monday mornings. Exactly. So here we are, friends. Let's actually let's back things up, because I myself have a twisted take today, and I'm going to get into it. I remembered it, unlike Buga's, which I tend to forget. But my twisted take, folks, comes from a comment from Jurgen Klopp, where he was asked, how many signings are Liverpool going to make this summer? And my immediate thought was, that's not the answer. You're not going to be able to just wave your checkbook at the summer transfer market and fix the problems. I point to Chelsea as the number one example of this, where spending might not be the solution. If you look at the top spenders in English Premier League, just for example, the top 10 spenders over the last 5 seasons, only 3 of them are in the top 6. So my twisted take is that the era of spending your way out of problems is over, that you really do have to take the time to build your team from the ground up at times. So I don't think Liverpool wave their magic wand, bring in 4 or 5 new names, and then all of a sudden they're battling for an EPL title. I don't think that happens. I think players take time. I think teams take time to build their chemistry. Not everyone's going to be an Erling Haaland that comes in and breaks the goal scoring record in their first season. So my twisted take is that big clubs can no longer spend their way out of problems. What do we think, gents?
I think that's always sort of the case. I think that most of the time, what happens though in this day and age, and particularly with, I think football, I don't know how you feel about this, guys, but I think football has gotten a massive influx of like a young fan base. But it has always has, but I think that now it has been even bigger. I think that a younger fan base has joined both football, other sports, because of this whole Netflix documentary things or the games. And
social media.
That, yeah, exactly.
Think about the access that people have to the players, the personalities, the storylines, you know? We talked about Gavi on Instagram last week, just constantly posting pictures of dribbling past players on the ground. A lot of players do that.
Yeah, and like you see that on spaces that should normally be for other, let's say, bigger audiences, like a Twitter where you discuss, or you have to be more like smart discussions. But in Twitter, we know that those things doesn't happen. So it's like that sort of things. I believe that tend to make you believe and towards the easier argument. The easier argument always is going to be money fixes your problems, or money buys this player and this player fixes the problem that you have on your left wing or fixes the defense. And that is a sort of, I think, aspects that most of the time people just lean towards, but because we have this younger audience or we have these sort of people that like that argument easier. And sometimes you tend to overlook how a manager needs to build a roadmap, how a manager needs to incorporate these players. The best part of Liverpool, for instance, that I really like, and I think he's the best club that has done this, is that Klopp had like a roadmap, and he knew I need 3 players to fill the void. And he bought Alisson, he bought Fabinho, he bought Van Dijk. And it's like, bang, 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 this is the players that I need, this is the gaps that I have. But because he already have identified them in the squad that he needed to fix them. It's not just like simply, let me bring this player in and I can fix that. So I tend to agree with you, but particularly it's more like interesting to see how it changes the dynamic. Because nowadays, a club like Chelsea, for instance, a club like PSG, even a Manchester City to a point, they have sort of, and I also want to say like Barcelona before Laporta with Bartomeu, they also did the same thing. So it's like clubs have said that the president now should be just crazy spending. So let's see how it changes. We need other clubs to be able to win these competitions, the Champions League, to be able to change that. And a part of that is honestly like Real Madrid just winning it the past few years so many times, because it's like their model is different to any model in the world. So it's like you cannot replicate that. And sometimes that suffers as a return, I think.
Yeah. Real Madrid is the one team that I think of when I think of buying their way, I don't want to say back into relevance, but buying their way into staying relevant. Like they're very good, and maybe it's just because that's the culture there. It's a sink or swim culture. We're going to bring in big names. If you don't cut it, you're out. If you do,
but not
fantastic.
Really. Like they like say, okay, I'll spend. I don't know how much. How much did they pay for Camavinga, Pablo? Do you remember? Well, it was not like 70 million.
No,
it was like
30.
30. Yeah, it was like 30. So they also do those things where they go, let's all out, but they also go like, 2 summer transfer windows, I'm just going to buy a Camavinga. And they just do that. And they leave with Lucas Vázquez at right back, and it works for some reason. We're just going to pay Valverde, and he suddenly rises to become a very good midfielder. So it's like, Real Madrid is like, buy, but they're also sort of, I think they're very intelligent also in the way that they do. And I feel that during the time that we were buying like Griezmann's and Andre Gomez and let's say like Lenglet, all these players, and spending money, I think Real Madrid had a better plan than Barcelona.
Yeah. They're not all hits though. I mean, let's not overlook Eden Hazard. They do make their mistakes at times. All right, let's jump into some English Premier League then, shall we? Arsenal.
Yeah,
Arsenal dropping points for the second week in a row. Another 2-2 draw. Pablo, what was your takeaway from this one? What's going on with Arsenal?
I wasn't expecting it, actually. I'm going to be honest with you. And I still, if I had to lean one way, would say that Arsenal are going to be champions of England. But
ooh, really?
Yeah.
You're still feeling it?
Yeah, I just think because of City's schedule. I mean, apparently at the moment, City don't even have a slot in their calendar to fit in the Brighton game in the Premier League because they've got too many fixtures. So they're going to be in the semi-finals of the Champions League. So they got the FA Cup semis coming up as well. So I don't know. Although to be fair, I think the FA Cup semis are, if I'm not incorrect, against the Championship side, I think. But still, Sheffield United, I think. But still, I think for City, they've got a lot of games coming up, and it just felt like Arsenal's titled all season. But I mean, Arsenal at the moment, they are showing all the signs of a side that's going to bottle the league. They are like a bit like Liverpool in 2013-14. Like Arsenal are coming up with results of teams that don't win Premier Leagues at the moment. I must say, teams that win Premier Leagues either have one of these slip-ups and then come back and win the next day. They don't really ever repeat the same mistake twice. And I think after they did that 2-2 slip-up against Liverpool, I think to come the next week and do the exact same thing to West Ham, I don't know. It's just bad news for Arsenal, and I think it's going to start filtering into the players. They're going to start feeling the pressure. They haven't been in that situation before. Arteta hasn't. And I think the gloomy thing for Arsenal would be if they slip this up, not only will I think that have a massive, massive effect on the players mentally and just everyone at the club, but I think they'll also be looking at a trophyless season, which is incredible, really, when you think about this Arsenal team who've really been touted as one of the best teams in Europe. If they leave without a title this season, I mean, that would be shocking. So Arsenal, at the moment, on a really, really slippery slope, and they've got to be really careful. They don't keep doing this because the longer they do, it's going to embed into their football, and they're just going to, psychologically expect to lose leagues. And I think we probably saw that a bit yesterday.
Yeah, I'm looking at their roster.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's a lack of experience at this point. When you look at their roster, you think, who's lifted trophies? Who's been there before? They got Zinchenko and Gabby Jesus who experienced it at Man City, but not as the leading players, right? Gabby Jesus more so than Zinchenko, but they weren't carrying Man City across the line there, right? So I'm wondering if this is just the growing pain that Arsenal has to go through to get over that hurdle. If they got to maybe stumble at the finish line once to go, okay, we know that even at that point, it's not over and we got to push forward. We got to overcome that last obstacle, the final 10 matches of the season. Maybe this is the final growing pain for Arsenal? Buga, what do you think?
Yeah, I think growing pains in football is a real thing. I really do feel that. I constantly watch and listen to Xavi's press conference, for instance, and he mentions how it's important for this team to win this La Liga title. And it seems like we're going to get to that later, but it's like getting these players to actually win a trophy, get players who are inexperienced to win something. It can be the difference between a team that can go up there in the upper echelons of football elite and compete there constantly, and just a team like a Tottenham, for instance, that with Pochettino, they were a very good team. In those eras, those times, I would put those eras, like they were like 7 years ago, and I talk about them like 20 years ago, maybe more. But it's like in those times, like that team, I could put Pochettino's Tottenham as one of the, I don't know, but it will be honorable mentions in my top 10 list of the best football teams I've watched in my lifetime. It really was a good team.
Whoa, stop. Hold on, stop.
Yes.
The fact that you didn't preface that as a twisted take is I am flabbergasted.
It's not twisted. It's not twisted.
This guy,
it is twisted like a Twizzler, Buga. What are you talking about?
It was a really good team.
I've had enough.
I really like that team.
I've had enough of this bloke.
I really like that team. That Pochettino team, I really like that team. I honestly, you will be surprised how many people say that. We'll find out. Okay?
We'll find out. Let us know in the comments.
Find out.
Please do.
But that's the point. But that's the difference. The difference why that team doesn't transcend, and a reason why perhaps that sounds like a twisted take, is because they didn't win anything. Sure. And at the end of the day, in football, in anything you do, the result, the trophy, is the thing that marks you down. And now in 2023, we can go back and say they were crap. It's so easy to make that argument. Yeah. So I feel that Arsenal feel that pressure, and that pressure makes your legs like just shake. Your legs shake. You start to feel the pressure in the games, and I feel that, like you said, they really do need this. They need to pull through somewhere or another. They should go this is the moment where if I was a manager, I don't care. I go back 5. I just try to get a win and pull through. I don't care. I don't care how you do it, but you need to get the win. You need to win this Premier League title if you already are in this position.
Yeah.
That is the sort of thing that at the end of the day, it doesn't really care how you do it. Because if they win just by getting a penalty each game and winning 1-0, nobody's gonna remember that. They're going to remember the Premier League that you won. So it's like, at this case, in my opinion, it doesn't matter how you win. Get 20 red cards. I don't care.
I do feel for Arsenal a little bit. I don't know why. It's just because I was saying, I just think they like, if they don't win this Premier League, you know, how harsh that is really. And it just feels like they've been top the whole season. But it's like what I was saying. It's like a barrier you have to break to become a team that wins the Premier League. And it's like, how do you do it? I think a big part of it is teams below you just messing up. And I think thankfully for Arsenal, City were messing up for a lot of the season. And they still could. And that could be enough to just push Arsenal over the line. It easily could. And I think Arsenal now will need that. They need City to just slip up, as they have been in the previous 28 match days or whatnot. But I think Arsenal, they've come to this point, and it's like you were saying, John, you probably look around the dressing room and you wonder who can pull us over the line here. And I don't know who can out of that team. So it's down to Arteta now, to them to dig deep. They've got to look around each other and say, can we come back from this? Can we start winning games? Because I think once you're on that pitch, all the sort of the ghosts start coming in and the doubts start coming in, and you need character to come through that and really prove that you're ready to be champions. Because at the moment, it's not even in their hands. If City want to win all the games, then that's the goodbye to the title for Arsenal. And that could have a massive effect, because is this chance going to present itself again next season? It might, but in my opinion, this league has been quite weak in the Premier League.
Yeah, I'm wondering...
that
Go ahead, Buga.
Sorry. I think that what Pablo said is very, very important in shifting the mentalities of this Premier League. Arsenal are no longer in control. And that is such a different position to being in control. To just chasing, to trying to not mess up. It's like, dude, we mess up right now and we are out. It's like that pressure is different to just saying, we mess up, they have to then catch us. having a little bit of a margin is always better.
Yeah.
And now Arsenal are in a position where that, for instance, I'm not a good I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm not a good person if I'm in that position. I'm someone who needs to work on that. It's not easy. Like, you mentally have to train yourself in different situations to say, if you're being chased, if you're being down, if you don't have control, if you don't have that margin, that pressure can eat you up very quickly. And I'm that sort of person. So I kind of like I could see that happening to other people, right? The last thing I wanted to mention, this is like, we're underlooking, I feel. In these past few games, has Saliba been injured? He has. Yeah. So it's like, are we underlooking maybe how big of an impact he can have on that Arsenal defensive setup? Maybe because they've been conceding more goals lately.
Hugely.
And that is a worry for a manager. The main thing that you want to keep your scoring zero. Like, if there's one thing that makes me happy about these draws with Barcelona forever, is that they're not conceding, which is different, right? Yeah. That's one thing, because it tells you the problem is at the other side of the pitch. But right now, Arsenal problems, it seems like they are like defensively, and that's a bigger issue.
Well, of course. Yeah. Just quickly, Saliba being injured for Arsenal and then replacing him with Holding. It's just like Araujo being injured for Barca, and then Eric Garcia comes in. Like, we still can win games, massive. But it's more difficult.
It's a good shout.
It's just more difficult.
That's a good shout. Yeah, I really do. I like what Buga said kind of about the mentality, because it's the difference of, are you the underdog or are you the favorite? And some people do respond a lot better being the underdog as opposed to being the favorite. And I wonder how differently Arsenal would be feeling right now if they would have swapped with Man City, meaning Man City in first this entire season, Arsenal just nipping at their heels a little bit, and now they're in the position where they can take them over late in the season. How differently they would be approaching that mentally. You know what I'm saying? I think this has been a long season of, to use the metaphor, heavy lies the head that wears the crown. And Arsenal haven't built up those neck muscles yet. So they've been holding that crown on their head, waiting for someone to come and knock it off of them. And I think it's going to happen towards the end of the season. I think it's going to happen.
Incredible.
Yeah, it just feels like they're gonna mess it. Dude, I was like, this weekend, for me, I was like, there's no good football. But then I realized, like, I opened my phone and then, what? Arsenal drew to West Ham? And I just didn't, like, remember that game. So I had to watch it afterwards.
I walked away when the penalty was given at 2-1 for Arsenal, because Barcelona was about to start. I was like, okay, well, here goes 3-1 for Arsenal. I'll turn this one off. And then at some point in the second half of Barcelona, somebody started putting in the chat that Arsenal dropped points again. And I didn't even believe it. I didn't believe it at all. But and I'll say this, credit to Saka. I think you got to give credit for owning the missed penalty on Instagram. A lot of people would go silent in those cases, but I think the fact that Saka said, you know what, this one's on me, missed penalty, no excuses, I do appreciate that. And I think that's an indicator of that leadership mentality, that he'll be one of those players that inevitably does get Arsenal over that hill. I think he's the player to do it.
I don't know if I agree with that. I feel he's like a Marcus Rashford, like drafting an essay after every incident.
Ouch.
Pablo would know that.
Ouch.
I feel like honestly, sometimes in football, like mainly with like celebration and things like that, it's like at the end of the day, it's just a job. So it's like, if you miss it, like just you miss it, right? Like,
no big deal.
Next time you have to do better. And I feel that at the end of the day, like, nothing. I think it would be dumb to assume that us as fans do not. Okay, let me rephrase that. I think it would be dumb to assume that the players don't feel bad about missing penalties. Like,
well, I'm sure they do it. I'm sure the death threats don't help.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it would be dumb to assume that they don't. Like, it's people feel like they don't. And it's like, no, dude. Like, I always go back, and once again, how can Buga put Peru back into the thing?
Here we go.
World Cup 2018. This guy Cueva misses the penalty for Peru to qualify us. That could have won us the game against Denmark and then qualify us to the next round. Yeah. And it's like, one day I was talking to my dad, and I was like, dude, do you feel he feels bad? And my dad is like, probably he thinks about it like every single day when he goes to sleep. Like,
dude,
or every day he wakes up.
I still think about in 8th grade basketball championship. I had a chance for the game-winning shot. I can still see it. I stole the ball. I put it in the air. It was lined up perfectly and sails over the rim for an air ball. I was 14 years old. I'll never forget that.
Really? Yeah.
These guys remember these misses. I guarantee you.
And it's like, imagine imagine feeling that every single damn time. So of course they're gonna miss it. Probably Saka will. How much Saka can? He has like plenty misses, so he probably remembers all of them.
He's probably thinking about those World Cup missed penalties as well. I mean, he's racking up the big misses right now.
Yes, like Harry Kane.
Okay, so what are we thinking for Arsenal then? Are they gonna put it back together? Are they gonna figure things out enough? Are they gonna go to a back five like Buga said and just shut down shop and get the points that they need? What are we thinking, Pablo?
Oh. God.
That is telling, I think.
I think they can do it. They've got Man City next Wednesday, 11 days time.
It's coming up.
Sorry, nine days time, sorry. That's huge. That's at the Etihad though, but I mean City are gonna have so many games around it, honestly. If they lose that though, then I think they're done actually.
If Arsenal lose that one?
Yeah, surely. But I think at the moment Arsenal are in a period where it feels like they're going to drop points every game. They've got Southampton away on Friday night. I mean, that's another teller. God, it's so difficult to say. They've got Chelsea after that, so they've got 3 points there. I mean, that's the one. That's the one game I'm looking at. I'm thinking they've won that.
I want Chelsea to play good to get Pablo happier. Like he looks so like the soul have been drained out of your body.
Yeah, it's not.
He's a beaten man, Buga. He's a beaten man. He's been through a lot this year.
Yeah, it's not because of Chelsea, my friend.
That too. The sun is beginning to rise for Pablo, though. This is, I think, the end of a long year, personally and professionally, and it's going to be a nice summer. Things are going to refresh. We're going to get the best version of Pablo and Chelsea next year.
Pablo and Mudryk just become best friends.
Arsenal, I don't. You'd have to say maybe no at the moment.
I'm looking at the run of games that they have. I'm looking past Southampton, but I'm looking at Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton.
Yeah.
Whew, that's tough. They end it with Forest and Wolves, which I don't think they should be too worried about. Forest will be a bit of a stumbling block, perhaps, but I don't see them getting through those four matches: City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton. I don't see them getting through unscathed. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So I'm.
Then it's whether City can win it all.
Yeah, I'm going City treble. I'm going for it. I'm going league, I'm going FA Cup, and I'm going Champions League.
God, I mean, they would cement themselves, wouldn't they? Pep and Haaland would, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
marriage.
I think so.
The perfect marriage.
Yeah, and Pep continues to be the big brother to Arteta in that case. I think it happens.
Yeah, that would be unbelievable. Yeah.
Uga, who you got?
Yeah, I have to go with Man City as well. At the start of the season, I wanted Arsenal, but dude, like I say, I can see the legs of little, I don't know, give me a player, Shaka, like going, ee! So they're shaking.
All right.
So it's like, yeah, they're gonna lose. And I feel like I really like what Pablo said about that. Is it 2013, 2014 where Liverpool just bottled it? Yeah, I feel it's going to be very similar to that.
Some of these results.
You're talking about the slip?
I'm talking the slip as well. I mean, I'm looking at the 3-3 to Crystal Palace. I think Liverpool. Like, some of these are reminding me of that. We've got big leads in games, and it's like I've watched like title-winning teams with Chelsea. That doesn't happen. Like if you're 2-0 up and you're going to win the league, you do not lose the points. And even this crap Barcelona team, if we're 2-0 up in a game, yeah, we're not drawing that game.
Yeah.
So who sleeps?
What for against Chelsea at the Emirates?
Yes, who sleeps? Who's the one who sleeps against Man City?
Probably like Fofana to leave Saka in for his third of the game.
No, what do you mean? No, I'm talking about Arsenal versus Man City because that's
Okay.
Okay.
who sleeps.
Man, Arsenal, Man City, just
Who
predicting
sleeps?
that
Who's the
one.
guy who then we mean for like the rest of the
Rob
decade?
Holding could slip, couldn't he?
He's so
Could it-
sleepable.
He could. Or Partey. Partey got the ball robbed.
I think
Rice,
Partey.
didn't he?
I don't know why. Yeah, I think a Partey could slip up, or maybe even like a. I don't know why, but I never see Gabriel Magallanes as such a solid defender. I know he's good, but it's like I always.
I don't know about.
feel
I
he
don't
has,
know
like,
about.
some-
Here's what
Gabriel.
it is. Here's guys, you're overlooking the obvious. Overlooking the obvious, you guys.
Who sleeps?
Shock a red card in the first half. Arsenal go down to 10 men. You're overlooking the obvious. That's what's going to happen. And then Man City dominate possession, end up winning it 3-0.
Like, yeah, that's spot on.
Call it
because
the shot.
No, but we need Xhaka to sleep, and then like out of nowhere, you find a like I don't know how you call it in English, planchazo, where you go like with your things up like that on the, and that's immediate red card.
Yeah.
That's what
yeah.
happens. He sleeps because he sleeps.
Shaka gets
Sleeps.
called for a rough challenge. He gets a yellow card. He gets in the face of the referee. He headbutts him, gets sent off, and a 10-match ban. Maybe not that extreme, but that I'm calling it. Calling it now. Shaka red card. Arsenal lose to Man City. Title hopes crumbling down.
Over, and Xhaka and what's this guy? Mitrovic becomes friends in football.
yeah. Mitrovic tweets out in support. I think it's happening. All right. We got a couple other Premier League things to talk about. I want to talk about Villa and Unai Emery, but let's get Chelsea out of the way first because we're giving weekly updates on Chelsea, and it's just a free fall. So let's jump over to our resident Chelsea expert, Pablo. How are we feeling this week about Chelsea?
It's funny how we keep going back every week. I mean, this week I knew we were going to lose to Brighton. I said 2-0. It was 2-1 in the end. Apparently, it was like Brighton like dominated, like clearly deserved to win, even when Chelsea were 1-0 up. They were the ones in control. New update this week is that Todd Bowley went into the dressing room after the game and sort of gave a little speech to the players. He said it was embarrassing and that they haven't spent 600 million to be in 11th place, the bottom half of the table. But for Chelsea, it just feels like they have to get the next appointment right. And an awful lot of work is going to have to be done to, get this squad back on side. And I think it makes me lean more towards Luis Enrique, the current state of Chelsea, like that sort of motivator, the guy that comes in and makes you feel like you're on top of the world and like brings this squad together and gets them playing, gets them believing. He's won things before. He's been there, done that. Nagelsmann could be like a renovator and a project guy, but I mean, Chelsea need a kick up the backside, really. And obviously having Lampard come back in, which is no focus on no focus on the tactical side of football. He's just come in and said, "Lads, we're Chelsea, give it a go." And nothing's changing, of course.
They gave up 26 shots against Brighton.
Yeah,
26 shots. That's insane.
I think that's the most Chelsea have given up in the Premier League era at Stamford Bridge, by the way.
Wow.
So, would make sense.
It just gets worse and worse for Chelsea. I mean, it's like we said before, I don't think Chelsea are going to win a game before the end of the season. And it makes it just really worrying. Like, are Chelsea going to be relegated? Like, how far badly does this go? The same question keeps coming every week. But I think bottom line is the squad needs to be sorted out in the summer. Bowley needs to be smart with his transfers. And whoever the manager is, they need to be consulting with them on that. And they've got to get this one right now because next appointment is key. Managerial appointment gets right. There's enough good players in that squad and things are sorted, but there's a clear, disbelief in the Chelsea squad at the moment with all these new blokes. Like even against Real Madrid, when I thought we were doing fine, we actually should have been 1-0 up in the first 5 minutes, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. And then it was at the 20th minute, and I was like, we just stopped playing. It's 0-0. And then Benzema got the goal out of nowhere, and it was like, well, Chilwell just got sent off as if nothing mattered. I was like, hang on a minute. Like, it's 1-0 in the 50th minute. Don't just throw away the game. And it just felt like we were there, like, please, can we just lose and get off the pitch? And that's a horrible place to be coming into games with as Chelsea.
I was going to say that's such an indicator of the mentality, only being down 1-0 and being willing to just throw it away and get sent off like that, like they were already down 3-0.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It's a weird mentality. So when you mentioned could Chelsea get relegated, I was like, surely not.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, they're 12 points clear of relegation right now.
Okay.
But if you look at their schedule, they've got Arsenal, they've got Man City, they've got Newcastle, they've got Brighton, they've got Newcastle again. Is that enough to get them relegated? Like, are they going to have a scare towards the end of the season?
There's no wins in that, is there? I mean, I think, like, what was it? We got Brentford at home, we lose. Arsenal away, we lose. Bournemouth away is a draw maximum. I think it's not. I mean, then you got Man City away is a loss. Newcastle's a loss. It's Nottingham Forest at home. I think that they'll be fine. It's like a relegation scrap as to who stays up at the bridge, and we could pull like a 1-0 together or something.
Welcome to the massive relegation scrap of this weekend. Chelsea versus Tottenham
It's
Forest.
ridiculous, though. You've got to be careful.
Did I say Tottenham Forest? Not Nottingham Forest.
If Chelsea keep losing and if a few of the other clubs keep winning, like we could go into that game against Nottingham Forest with like 3 points between us.
Yeah. Quick correction, because I was looking at Chelsea's schedule and didn't realize that the Brighton and second Newcastle match, those are late in the summer. Those are friendly. So let me correct myself on that.
Yeah.
Those are preseason. So let me correct myself on that. But they do
You
have
have one game between Man United as well. That is postponed.
So they're going to be Chelsea's last games. They've got Brentford, which I'm going Brentford on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got Arsenal, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, Man City, Newcastle.
And United.
And United. Yeah, because that one got postponed. I'm going Chelsea don't get relegated, but I think they get scared. I think they drop a few more spots on the table, and it gets a little bit nervy.
The problem is that they would need a team to also win consistently for a while. And I feel like if there's a team that could do that, maybe Crystal Palace can push a bit. But they would need one of the bottom teams, like a West Ham, Leeds United, Everton, to suddenly start racking up points so that they fall into that hole.
I would say,
or Nottingham Forest, Leicester,
West Ham, Leeds, and Everton, I think, could catch Chelsea. I think those three could catch Chelsea, and Chelsea could be, I'll say 14th or lower at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I think that's a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't really think they get in the relegation battle, but I think 14th to 16th.
Look at this stat. Between Fulham and Everton, so 10th to 17, they all have managed to win a game in their last 5, and Chelsea are the only team who haven't.
Yeah.
Yikes. That's big.
Like Everton, Leeds, West Ham, Bournemouth, Wolves, Crystal Palace, Fulham, all of them have won a game in the last 5.
Absolutely wild.
Chelsea haven't won a game in the last 5. The only other team in the entire of the Premier League, well, no, I'm discounting Nottingham Forest, Leicester City, and Southampton, is Brentford up there in 9th.
Yeah.
Just in free fall as well.
Okay, yeah, they are.
Yeah,
so maybe that's where you can get a win.
Okay.
I just gotta say, watching Brighton versus Chelsea, that's the one I saw. I saw it like in a line, but I was with my phone like watching.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the size of the screen, but dude, it looked like Brighton passed the ball so quickly between them. Like it really was, they were dominating. And to have someone who's just like to have players for me, Brighton, they're doing amazing. That's one thing. They're incredible. They're such a joy to watch. I feel for South America, they're doing a great promotion because they have so many different players from countries that perhaps don't get the recognition, like Ecuador, Paraguay, and so it's good to see players like that. But to even have those players like that, like be dancing around in Stamford Bridge, like, nah, dude, you cannot have a kid from Paraguay like destroy your team, like score a golazo. No, that's too much. So it's like, I don't know. I feel that Chelsea I was going to say they came up against a great team, but the thing is, the problem is that Chelsea don't even have weapons of their own. Yeah. I think that's the issue. They have weapons. They don't have no bullets.
Dude, that is the perfect analogy. They are loaded up with weapons.
They got like a
no
massive
ammunition.
M4 dipped in gold.
Yeah, it's like
but they got no bullets.
Yeah, they forgot the key. They lost the keys to their gun locker. Like
exactly.
Too funny. Well, you mentioned some recognition, and before we move on outside of Premier League, I want to give some recognition to Aston Villa, but more specifically Unai Emery, taking them from relegation battle to now 6th. And I want to drop another stat on you. Aston Villa have scored in their previous 18 matches. They haven't won all of them, but they have scored in their last 18. if they score in their next one. Villa and Unai Emery will have the record for most matches scored in consistently at 19. That, to me, is one of the biggest indicators of this turnaround, because that's the toughest thing. Scoring the goals. It seems like most clubs, if they put priority towards it, if they put a focus on it, can figure out the defensive side first. It's the goal scoring. It's the attacking side of the ball where teams lack. Barcelona, who we'll talk about in a minute. So I think Aston Villa are cracking the code, because it's not, listen, you have a standout with Ollie Watkins. He's got 14 goals, 6 assists. But after that, it's spread out. You've got 9 other players that have found the back of the net. Nobody has more than 5 goals, though. This is truly a team effort, and I just want to shout out Aston Villa and Unai Emery for their turnaround.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, how high they are. It's also maybe, I do think it's a bit of an indicator that they've gone on a bit of a streak, and all of a sudden they're sixth as to, how many teams are consistently dropping points this season. But it's quite incredible. It's a good indicator of what a good coach can do as well, to be fair, coming in and, changing and revolutionizing a good squad.
In the last 8 games, they've conceded on 2 goals.
It's wild.
And they have scored 13. So it's like pretty good return. I feel Unai Emery was always, in my eyes, a good coach, but maybe not for the level of. Well, I think he's the level manager for like an Arsenal, not for PSG. But the thing is, at Arsenal, he just was the kind of the scapegoat, because he came right after Wenger was sacked, so that was always going to end bad. Yeah. But now at Aston Villa, he went to Villarreal. That's a perfect club for him as well. He got them the Europa League. Yeah. And now he goes to Aston Villa, and he can maybe do the same thing. And similarly, it's like now he has the ability to spend and improve their squad. Like in Villarreal, he was always in a position where the best players were going to get like picked apart. But now at Aston Villa, he can perhaps defend himself a little bit better in the transfer market. And when you take a look at what Aston Villa did against Newcastle, that's a game I also watched. They also did very good. They ended up with more possession. They were more dangerous, 16 shots to only Newcastle's 8. They had 6 of them on target. I feel that they're starting to change the mentality and bring a club back. And I really like that for Aston Villa. I really, really do. I feel that he's set up as well of the 4-2-3-1-ish, but maybe when Dia also incorporating himself as an attacker, sometimes it works really nicely. And it reminds me of what Unai Emery did at Sevilla. Remember when the same formation, when he played like Klichowiak, the Polak. You remember that guy?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Klichowiak. It's like Den Donker suddenly is that guy for him now here. And he was such a pivotal part of that team. And it makes me really, that I feel that's the best Unai Emery that we saw. And now we're seeing him here back again in Aston Villa. Like, they should be really proud. Like, literally, I was mentioning how good was Brighton, but now they're on top of Brighton in the Premier League. Like, yeah, that's how good they're doing. Yeah. There are only 2 teams I see here in the last 5 games who have gotten all wins. Man City and Aston Villa. So that's a massive stat here. All green.
Yeah.
Huge.
The boys in what's the color? Burgundy?
Claret.
Burgundy and claret.
Claret.
Claret. Okay. Good stuff. All right. Let's change gears then, from a team that has figured out goal scoring to a team that can't find the back of the net. Barcelona. Big lead in La Liga, but they are starting to let that slip up a bit. Haven't found the back of the net recently. What is going on with the Blaugrana, Pablo?
Barcelona have got a big lead. Big enough, I'd say, of 11 points with 9 games remaining. But Barcelona have also got some tough games coming up. Real Madrid will smell blood. If we keep dropping points, then that gap is going to get smaller and smaller, and the nerves will kick in. I mean, Barcelona, I think, will win La Liga, but have been poor in attack, I think, almost for the entirety of 2023. I don't think it's a new thing. I think actually how little goals we've scored this season is quite alarming. I think it's actually similar to the numbers last season when we had no one in attack. Like we had Dest and Memphis in the front 3. So, it's worrying, I'd say. I think the most frustrating thing for me is that I think this season we wanted to play good football as well as win, right? That was the point with Xavi and the good team that we built. And unfortunately, the good football went a few months back. maybe after the Supercopa win in the final against Real Madrid, the football was kind of like, yeah, forget that. Let's just win La Liga now 1-0. And that's great. I'm all for that. And I think it's brilliant that Barcelona have got the defence right this season, only conceding 9 goals. It's the 17th of April as we're recording this today. That is ridiculous. I think the next lowest in the top 5 leagues is 20 or 21. So that is an unbelievable stat. And like, the 0-0 draws are proving that. But they're also proving that Barcelona are playing poor football, really dull football, nothing going in attack. I think signings in the summer really are going to have to solve that because Ansu Fati, Ferran Torres do nothing. Rafinha, I think is actually, worthwhile to be fair. But, again, he's not like a top 10 player in the world, Rafinha.
He's not the main guy. He can't be where the offense flows through. He's got to be. He's the plan B. Yeah. He's the alternate. He's all the focus is on the left side, swing it around to Rafinha, who's one-on-one. That's Rafinha's spot.
Yeah. And then you got Lewandowski, who without the guy on the left side is doing absolutely nothing. Hasn't really done much since the World Cup in all truth. So look, Barcelona are hobbling. Injuries have played a part. Defense is still going strong, but the football's not good at all. And I think a few people are just starting to get frustrated. Like, is this Xavi's Barcelona anymore? Or is this more like Atletico Madrid?
Buga, what are your thoughts?
Remember that we talked about how I said Arsenal should just shift to like a back five and win the Liga?
Yeah.
I feel Xavi had that mentality with this team, but there's a difference in that Xavi did that way earlier in the season. He did that to get past that part of Supercopa, Copa del Rey ties and stuff like that. Yeah. And he did that in a moment that makes sense. It made sense then. It worked out mostly. But now, due to injuries and that, it's like we're in a position back again where it's like, I cannot defend you having this setup, this planteamiento, against a team like Getafe. I can't. I really can't. Like that. This is a game where Barcelona should take the game to them, be able to try and win it, have one-on-ones constantly with the fullbacks. And it's like, there's no. How can you defend that? Why are you going to play with the way you did against a Getafe team, right? So it's like that sort of shift of mentality that Xavi, I feel, and it's not wrong if at the end of the day he managed to get it. So this is where I feel this perhaps section of our pod is like a little bit of just what are we actually talking about? Because at the end of the day, if Xavi wins La Liga, we're not going to remember this new draw against Getafe.
Sure.
Because that's what matters. That's what I was saying with Arteta. Like, you need to break that wall. You need to break that limit. You need to be able to break that tug of not being able to win anything. Win La Liga, fine. But then the expectation of games like this come. And I don't know if Xavi is just such a mastermind that he knows more than us of all three combined and probably the entire Barcelona fan base combined, that he just does this to get La Liga, and then I don't know where he's going to play incredible football, and the next Getafe away from home game, he's going to blast him out of the water with incredible attacking football, or he's just maybe learning as the job's going on, as it's growing. And I think it's more the second than the first. So I'm not quite sure in there because I feel it's more the second than the first. I don't know if Xavi will next season. Perhaps we're going to have this conversation again.
Yeah, I think this is the only season that Xavi can get away with this.
Exactly.
Because it's been a number of years since Barcelona have won La Liga, and if we can just get that chip off our shoulder, we can move forward. But if we're in this position next season, the Xavi out campaign is going to begin. I'm not going to be on that train, but somebody's going to pull that ripcord. And it's going to get momentum if we're in the same position come next spring. No European football, no Copa del Rey, just La Liga. It's not going to be good enough. So something's got to change.
Yeah. I mean, personnel is a big issue, of course. I do think if we had like the lineup that we played with, for example, in the Supercopa final, I think this would be different, of course.
I think Dembele being out is pretty big.
Yeah,
leading the team, leading the league in assists when he went out. Lewandowski, I think, is missing that more than anybody else.
Yeah.
But I'll also point out, I'll shout out Barca Buzz here for sharing out a tweet, given this stat in the last 3 games, it's highlighting Frankie de Jong's importance. No goals scored. He also did not start in the Bayern away where we lost 2-0, did not start versus Inter at home where it was 3-3, and did not play at all for the Inter loss where we were defeated 1-0.
Wow.
I think everyone's looking at, like I just said, Dembele as well as Pedri, but I think Frankie is the one that gives us the balance from box to box, that does the hard work, that covers up some of the ground that Busquets can't cover right now. And I think Frankie de Jong is the player that implements Xavi ball. I think without Frankie de Jong, the system doesn't work. You don't have enough pace in the midfield. You don't have the ability to keep the ball in the attacking third, eliminate the counterattack before it begins, and put the pressure right back on him. You don't have that without de Jong.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. I feel that de Jong replicates that so well, and particularly in a system where Xavi ball, you need to have such. I don't know why. It's like, are you guys feeling the same way? When he came in, he just loved having the wingers very, very stretched out wide and kind of just kissing the sideline. But now it's like he always wants to have these sort of inverted wingers and just have them constantly packing up the midfield and being so tight. And I feel that Frankie de Jong, for a team that doesn't have that sort of dynamism, he's the one that gives you that. And maybe that's where combined the absence of someone like a Pedri, a Frankie de Jong, and a Dembele, that is why he's resulting to this system, right? Yeah, so it's such a it's annoying, honestly, because it's these three players that all has been gone missing. And may I just add, it's like something weird is going on, because it's like they were supposed to be out for like a month, and now it's like we're constantly getting their return date postponed
every time.
So something is, I don't know, I feel something's going on behind the scenes. It's the pressure of the Negreira case, and maybe they cannot do too much to sort of call out or become media attention. I don't know what's happening, but Barcelona right now are not functioning the way that they should, but the margin should give, and they should just see this one out. Yeah. I feel that at the end of the day, the minimum requirement was win La Liga, and I feel that at the end of the day, that's what Barcelona are going to do. It's like they're going to go out passing the exam, but with a pass, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think they're going to do enough. They don't have any other competitions going on. They've got a big enough gap that even with a stumble or two, I think this match coming up against Atletico is pretty big.
Yeah.
I think a win against them this upcoming weekend, everybody feels good, everybody feels confident, and we just use our way.
Do we think we're going to win against Atletico?
I think we need to win, actually.
I do. But we don't need to, like, points-wise, but I think just to calma the culés, I think
but I mean, can we get the win against Atletico? Because this is what I wanted to mention last time around. I feel everyone is also we're talking about teams who are not being talked about enough. Atletico Madrid are only 2 points behind Real Madrid. I honestly think that Atletico Madrid, if Real Madrid go all the way to the final whatnot, Atletico Madrid finish second. They are in such a run. They're winning every single game. They're winning. Look it up. They're winning. They're winning, scoring goals. They're keeping, or not clean sheets, but they're keeping the goal tight, 1-0 and stuff like that. So it's like Atletico Madrid, I feel they're a team to be reckoned with. Somehow Simeone always managed to get under their skin. Like he goes under each of one player's nails, and like they just keep coming up. I feel he's like I don't know how you call it in English, but I feel Simeone is like that sort of little piece of skin that goes between your nail and your finger.
We call it a hangnail.
That thing is Simeone, you know? So it's like, we call it like, in Spanish, like the suegra. How do you say it in English, Pablo? You know what
do you mean? Do you mean cuticles?
I don't know what you mean. I mean, you know, here in your finger, the little skin that goes between your finger and your nail, that sometimes it's like a line, and just like...
Yeah. No.
So we call them like what's in English? What's the word for suegra? Like I'm married to someone, the mother of the person I married.
The suegra.
Mother-in-law? That's what we would call it, a mother-in-law, right? The mother of the person that I married?
Yeah. we call that basically the mother.
So you call that a mother-in-law?
The suegra.
Yeah, like so annoying.
Yeah.
The mother-in-law is so annoying.
There's like, some things that just span cultures. You know what I mean? Like mother-in-law is always going to be a problem.
No matter where you're from. So it's like
a shout out to my mother-in-law. She's a sweet angel if she's listening.
That's what I mean. Atletico Madrid are that. Simeone are the mother-in-law. And it's like,
that's good.
Are we gonna win against the mother-in-law? That's what I mean. Like, you never tend to win. You just always like, hold your ground.
0-0,
so
0-0, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll say this.
Honestly, Atletico Madrid. This is my take. I think they finish second.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them finishing second. I don't know where Real Madrid stumble to make that happen, but maybe I could see it happen. What I'll say is, as a Barcelona supporter, this is winding down to a pretty anticlimactic year.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it feels like even if we stumble, we're going to win La Liga. There's no Copa del Rey. There's no European football. Half of our starters that are the most exciting players are injured right now. It's kind of, I got to say, I was not looking forward to tuning into yesterday's match. No. I was just like, I
agree.
We'll get through it. We'll get through
tough.
it. So I think,
it was tough.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling towards the end of this year. Let's just wrap it up. See what happens in the summer. There could be some big news for Barcelona. I know we'll continue to talk about those transfer rumors, but just kind of womp, womp, womp towards the end of the season, you know?
And hopefully still do the job, though.
Hopefully still do the job. Yes, I think that's going to happen. Real quick, let's touch on Valencia before we jump over to Champions League.
Yeah.
Valencia, historic club, typically up there in the top 4 for La Liga. But this year, they are now in 18th place. They're 3 points outside of being clear from the relegation zone. Are they going to pull it together, or are we going to see a historic relegation here for Valencia? They've got Elche, who I think is right above them in the table, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Elche.
Excuse me. I was thinking of Almeria.
Points.
Excuse me.
Elche
are down. So we'll go. Let me pull that back up. They got Elche
minus 36,
and then they have Valladolid, Cadiz, Villarreal, Celta Vigo. They got Real Madrid.
To be fair, those next 3 games: Elche away, Valladolid at home, and Cadiz away.
Those should be wins, right?
If you want to stay up, they've got to be getting points there. They literally have to. But with the way they're going, you wouldn't back them to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's got to be it. Yeah, you're right. Cadiz in 16th, Valladolid at 14th.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to take care of business there.
Yeah.
And I'm pulling for them. They have a young American midfielder, Yunus Musa, had a very promising World Cup. I think, don't you laugh at that, Pablo. Don't you laugh at that. I heard that chuckle. I like
the way that that's why you're rooting for them.
Well, yeah, of course. I got no other ties to Valencia. But I think for that player in particular, had Valencia had a more successful season, he's going to be eyed at some of the big names around Europe. But I think between what's happening with Valencia and what's happening with Leeds, starting off with the United States of Leeds, moving away from Jesse Marsch, but then also still having Adams, Aronson, McKennie. Not a good look for the U.S. men's national team right now.
Yeah. Few
players taking those stepping up on the big stage, but the club's not doing so well. So I digress. I think Valencia will do enough. I think it'll be Almeria that end up sliding back in and getting relegated.
Fair enough. I mean, the big issue at Valencia is the owner, Peter Lim, now. They're just obsessed.
Yeah.
There's been so many protests, though, for years. It's not anything new, is it? And that's what makes me wonder, why would he go now? I don't understand what's going on. They are just so in turmoil. I mean, the club is it's terrible what's happening, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. Buga, are they going to stay up?
They must. They have to. They have to, because if not, there's one fixture less I will want to play in my FIFA career mode. I always simulate like Cadiz and Getafe, but Valencia, that's one you play. So it's like, That's what I mean. But I put this into football. Like that's one of the fixtures that you wanna see. Like it's a fixture that makes Spanish football up. And Valencia is always this historic. It's a hard one in Mestalla. It's a team that I've always really liked because of the city, the color, everything. I think it was one of the first football stadiums I've ever gone to, and when I was a kid, and Valencia, I always have a soft spot for them. So it's like they better get their act together because if not, like I say, it's one less win for La Liga. It's things like that. Like for instance, Everton. You don't want to see Everton get relegated.
Yeah. That's a good comparison there. There are certain teams in each league that that they're staples. They're not going to win the league. They're not going to do really anything in Europe, but they're a staple of the domestic league. And
I think that I really despise, and this is not La Liga, Crystal Palace. I hate their logo. I hate their colors. I hate everything about Crystal Palace.
Wow.
Not their players. Some of their players are amazing, but it's like, fuck no. They are so bad. I want them out of the Premier League. Like I want
Buga's been holding that in all year.
You're hilarious. I hate Crystal Palace. I don't like Crystal Palace. I don't know why.
So bizarre.
But Valencia is the opposite. Valencia has this.
It is a weird team to hate, Buga. Crystal Palace is a weird team to hate.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel they're so bad. Like not bad, but it's like ugly,
I get it. Like there are people who just have a punchable face. Like for you, Crystal Palace is a club that they're a hateable team. I get it. But...
Oh my god. Are we overlooking that Espanyol are about to get relegated again? That's another staple of La Liga. What the hell, man? Two staples are gone.
And one of Barcelona's biggest rivals. Yeah. Wild things happening. Wild things. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's jump over and we'll wrap up today's pod talking about Champions League football. The champions. We've got Napoli, Milan, and Chelsea, Real Madrid on Tuesday. And then we got Inter, Benfica, Bayern, Man City on Wednesday. Let's go predictions, folks. Napoli, Milan. First leg was Milan 1-0.
Yes, sir.
Is Napoli going to turn it around, or is Milan going to sneak through here?
There's one game out of all these four that isn't settled. Can you guess which one? This is it. Exactly.
This is the
one.
I
think it will go to like extra time or something like that. Napoli haven't won in their last. They only won one game in the last four, and against Milan in the last two games, they haven't managed to score.
I'm going to say similar situation to Arsenal. Show me who on that team has the trophy experience.
Exactly.
That's going to carry them across the line.
Exactly, and they literally draw against Verona again, 0-0. I feel that Osimhen is certainly a huge addition back into their team because nowadays, like what they were missing against Milan. Like if you watch that game, did any of you two watch this game?
Nope.
This game, Milan. People say, "Oh, Milan pulled with the power of the story to pull through." The first 70, 60 minutes, Napoli were eating them up for breakfast. Napoli were bang, 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 dominating first half, but they just didn't have any cutting edge. They had Elmas, just an attacking midfielder as their striker, and it's they didn't have anything to put that into the back of the net. So I think Osimhen certainly is going to be a huge addition if they manage to bring him back for this game. But also Sambo Anguissa and Kim Min-jae, they're going to be missing out for this game because Kim Min-jae got a accumulation of yellow cards, and then Anguissa got a red card. So it's what's the gap between Kim Min-jae and the next good defender that they have? It's Ostigard or Juan Jesus. And Juan Jesus, my good, that guy, I remember from him, he was at Inter ages ago. So it's he's always been this half part-time player. Yeah. I don't know. But the thing is that with Osimhen back, I think Napoli can bring this back to the game, certainly. I feel they can take it to Milan. One of those chances they create, they can certainly pull through. Milan, they always are good in the counter-attack. Brahim Diaz, he's exploding as a player in Milan, really. The goal for Milan, if you watch the highlights, did you watch that? Come on, did you do your homework?
Yeah.
That was entirely Brahim Diaz. The goal was 80% Brahim Diaz.
Sure.
Because two touches, with one touch, he ran past the entire midfield. And then he passed it to Leao, and then the other touch, he just does a little back heel in the air and delivers the ball to Theo Hernandez, or who was it? I don't know. But the thing is that Milan are always going to have chances. I think it's going to be like 2-1, goes to extra time, something like that. I don't know which way this one's going to go, but it's just going to be a rocking game. This is when it's the closest by a landslide, so I want to watch what happens.
I am going to be watching this one because I'm with you that this is the only one that has any competition left, but I am a little bit more skeptical about this being an entertaining match. Two Italian sides, one goal.
It's entertaining. It was entertaining. The first leg was entertaining. I
hope you're right. I'm going to tune in for it. I'm going Milan. I'm going Olivier Giroud puts them up 1-0 early, and Milan go through on a 2-0 aggregate.
You know why it's special? Because these teams, you could just see. I'll tell you why. Like these teams, you could see how much it meant to them because they have never been in this instance in a while.
That's
you
fair.
could, and they're both Italian. You could feel that, and I'm not joking, John. Every single ball, it looked like the player wanted to punch the other one in the face. Like Teo Hernandez celebrated on Chucky Lozano a throw-in like that on his face, and literally they were fighting. So it's like it's that sort of game. It really is. It's so tense. It's so tense, and you could just see it in every single fan's face and the players. This is why I watch the Champions League. Like more than because you watch Chelsea Real Madrid. Like there's no Chelsea fan that goes to the Bernabeu and thinks at this stage. That's the sort of that's the difference thing that I feel this game brings to the table.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that one next then. Pablo, is there any chance for Chelsea at this bridge here?
No.
Come back from a 2-0 deficit.
No, I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so. I think for Chelsea, it's just about going out with a bit of pride. I think I'm going to go 2-1 or 3-1 Real Madrid.
Yeah. I didn't realize, but in going back and listening to our pod last week, I actually predicted 2-0 Madrid.
You did.
And then I said 2-1 at the bridge. So I'm going to keep with that just to hold on to my crystal ball predictions here.
Yeah.
Buga, what are your thoughts for the second leg, Chelsea Real Madrid?
Dude, oh my God.
Do it, Buga.
Is
Do it.
Koulibaly out? Koulibaly's out.
Yeah.
It says here. Kai Havertz.
Be bold, Buga. Do it.
The predicted lineup
Do it.
for Chelsea is Silva, Fofana, James, Cucurella, Kovacic, Fernandes, Kante, Modric, Felix, Sterling. It's not a bad. That's the thing. You look at it and you go,
say it, Buga. Do it. Put money on Chelsea, Buga. Do it.
This is another twisted take. I'm going to say this.
Yes.
If Modric started the game against Chelsea, against Real Madrid in the Bernabeu, I think Chelsea could have scored a goal. Like, honestly, if there's one thing that guy can do, it's just run.
Yeah.
Sure.
And he's a sprinter. And I feel that that's what was lacking for Chelsea until before they got the red card. I feel that game, Chelsea managed the counterattacks very well. I don't know about do you think, Pablo? I feel they managed the counterattacks very good, like in the first half. Something happened to Pablo.
Yeah, can you hear me here? I mean, my
we can hear you. Yeah, the camera went off for a minute.
Decided to go like white. It's not even off. It's
yeah.
I can't really explain what's happened, but it should be back soon. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. But I had a feeling Chelsea would.
It's just so funny when you talk.
Go ahead, Pablo. Go ahead.
I had a feeling Chelsea would do okay in the setup. I mean, it's almost frustrating the goals we conceded actually because I think they were completely unnecessary. Even with 10 men in the 50th minute at the Bernabeu with an 11th place Chelsea team, like we were completely fine. And it's because we've got good players. And if we're in that rigid system, we should be okay. But it wasn't enough. We just didn't have any belief that we could do anything. So yeah, I mean, we went out.
The Enzo Fernandez passes from the midfield to the ongoing runners, dude, that is just pure talent. If there's a reason that Chelsea could have gotten a goal, it's because of Enzo Fernandez. Like, I kid you not, literally, he was pinging a ball to like Sterling out of nowhere, and it's in his feet suddenly, and it's like he's the only reason that they could manage anything here. I feel they score a goal here. They make it a little bit tense. People go like, "Yeah, Chelsea come back," and then like Benzema gets a goal out of like, absolutely nothing. And Real Madrid win 3. I'm gonna go 2-1 as well. You know what? 2-1 victory for Real Madrid. And maybe a random Modric. I don't know. I want to go Chelsea. But
This man loves Modric.
I want to go Chelsea.
Yeah, hilarious.
Hilarious.
Well,
I was here for the memes.
That's great. Okay, Buga, how are we feeling about Benfica? You had the kid on last week. Are we feeling a little bit less confident this week?
The kid's not on anymore.
The kid that is not anymore. I don't sleep with
back in the drawer.
Benfica.
Yeah.
Can they come back away from home 2-0 down?
Dude, that game was so tough to watch because it's like it happened the same thing between Napoli and Benfica. I feel the games were very similar. Benfica dominated the other team, but they just couldn't get the ball back to the net. They had plenty of chances, and then Inter counter-attack bank score a goal similar to Milan. The difference is that they have this 2-goal lead, and it was away from home. The situation was completely different. So now Benfica having to win at the Giuseppe Meazza. I don't see that. I feel Inter go through. It's too much of a margin and the stadium's difference. Yeah. At least Napoli have advantage at home.
Yeah.
But Benfica, the story, the fairy tale ends right here.
Right on. Jumping over to Bayern City then. In leg one, Man City did their part of what I thought was going to be an all-out attack back and forth. 3-0. Bayern did not show up in terms of the goal-scoring output. Is anything going to be different in Germany this time, Pablo?
Well, it could be, yeah, but I think City will still go through. I think they're too good. And actually, I can see City winning this one 2-1. I think Bayern will go 1-0 up, actually. But I'm going to go 2-1 City at the Allianz. I think they're good enough. I think Bayern, there's a bit of mess going on with Mane and Sane. So they draw on the week. They draw on the weekend as well, by the way, in the Bundesliga. So I think to Hoffenheim or something. So they don't look amazing yet under Tuchel. So I'm going to go for City, who, by the way, I thought in the first leg, that's some of the best football I have seen this season.
Yep.
I thought they were absolutely incredible.
Agreed.
So good. Yeah. Yeah.
Très magnifique.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Absolutely brilliant. That's a proper, some of the best football I've seen in Europe this year. So I'm going to go City. And they're going to make a good semi with Real Madrid, that's for sure.
Oh, no.
Well, I think he said City. Okay, he's back. Yeah. He's back. Little momentary freeze there for Pablo. We're good. City pick locked in. Buga, is anything going to be different in Germany?
Nah, I'm just going to continue building on from Pablo. Dude, the first leg from City was a proper game of football. Like, I haven't had that Champions League experience in a while. You know what I mean? Like, you just get in there, watch the Champions League. In I don't know, who's the commentary guy in over there in your lands? But here is the same guy always. And this guy who talks the Champions League games. He only talks like Champions League games. He's not like contracted to anything else. He's just for the Champions League games, so it's special. We have, and I love that.
Well, on BT we have Darren Fletcher.
Really, the guy who was midfielder for
no.
Man United? Okay,
not him. Then
Peter Drury.
Oh, do you have Drury? You lucky little demons.
Yeah.
You don't have Mariano Clos. That's the difference. You don't know who that is, but that guy is amazing. He's the most Argentinian ever, and it's amazing to hear him. And the thing is that, okay, it was such a proper game of football. They dominated Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne. Can we talk about Akanji Diaz? Like, oof. Diaz, I was getting warmed up with his challenges, dude, because he was like, he wasn't only doing, when like a winger does a trickery thing and gets past someone?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was having that when I saw Diaz defending, like, because he didn't just put his body on the line. He like knew exactly what to do to defend that ball, and that is just superb defending.
Who was in love?
Yeah. I'm in love. Like, you know what? Call me up the day Ruben Diaz plays bad. Like, call me up. Bernardo Silva was incredible again. Haaland, I don't know. That's a difference maker. A player who was invisible in the first half. I don't know where go and assist. Bang. And Bayern Munich, too many problems. They have a striker who, what's a striker? There's no striker. So Gnabry's not a striker. And they're going to have the problems with Sané, Mane, blah, 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 that thing. Is Mane suspended for this game? No.
Well, no.
He was suspended by Bayern for the league.
They internally suspended each for a match, I think. So they'll be back.
And I feel no, probably not. I think City gets this out. I think they're gonna win. And oh my god, they're the only team that has something like on the back. If this was school projects, they're the only team that actually have the project done. That can show the good poster at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So dude, this is looking really good. I'm excited.
Right.
I'm excited.
Well, we'll see. Like I said, those matches coming up Tuesday and Wednesday. So we'll be watching those. We'll be back next week to talk about the results. We'll continue on with some EPL, some La Liga, whatever else happens in the world of football. I'll wrap us up on some sad news, actually.
No,
FC Cincinnati
No.
suffered their first defeat. This was a big one. There was a huge weather delay, like a couple hours even. Ended up losing to St. Louis 5-1. Yeah, including an absolute FIFA goal off of Roman Celentano, FC Cincinnati's goalkeeper, off the post, off of the head of a diving Roman Celentano. I'm telling you, it was the most FIFA goal you're ever going to see. So I blame the weather delay on this one. We're going to shake it off. We're going to move on.
Was it at home?
It was not at home.
Okay.
It was away, and it was a weather delay. Just everything was a little bit off, including the team and their performance.
Yeah.
So we shake it off. We move on. Still top of Eastern Conference, feeling good, feeling strong, feeling confident.
Okay. Are you losing Brenner though?
We are losing Brenner. And he actually, I didn't look into it. I don't know if he picked up an injury or if it was intentional. Left off the squad. This match. He's going to stay with us for the rest of the season into the summer transfer window in Europe.
Yeah.
But interesting, we'll say that he was not part of the squad. So I'll look into that, see if he picked up an injury, and I'll give you another update next week. I know everybody's tuning in for these FC Cincinnati updates, so I'll keep you posted, guys.
Cool.
All right. Anything else to wrap us up, boys?
I just want to shout out the game between Sevilla and United. I don't know if you saw the news on that one. Varane injured, Lisandro Martinez injured.
I did see that.
It's very severe, Lisandro Martinez.
I did see that.
Bruno, well, I don't know if he's out or something, but he was. I don't know why they keep mentioning Bruno. Maybe he did something, a rant to the referee or something. But do we think that Sevilla can manage a comeback or anything? Because they managed to pull the game back through two own goals at the end of the game against United. So it's 2-2 now. They go back. They now play at the Sanchez-Pizjuán. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think Man U will go through. But Man U are in a worrying spot, though. All of a sudden, in the top four race, and they're losing Licha and Varane. All of a sudden, it went from looking like quite like a happy season to they're going to end the season, I think, a little bit.
Well, let's end on this. Easier route for Manchester United to get Champions League football. Top four or winning Europa League?
I still think top four, actually. I think they've got top four.
I also feel top four.
But I
feel top four.
I think they're going to do both.
Yeah. I feel they won't. I feel they won't.
They won't.
I feel they're gonna. No, I don't think that. I honestly don't.
Sting.
I feel that top four they have it in the bag, but Europe League, I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna stumble against the team.
Okay, well, something to
remember.
Tune in
Sevilla
for.
are the kings of Europe.
They are
They're
kings
the
of
Real
Europa
Madrid,
League, but they're also total ass this year. So we'll see.
But they got the magic because they drew with two own goals. You know, that's exactly what Real Madrid would do in the Champions.
Exactly what
that's true. That's true. Team of destiny. We'll see. We'll see how it unfolds. Make sure you tune in next week for some more updates. We'll be talking results. We'll be talking about upcoming fixtures and whatever else is going on in the wide world of football. Thank you again for listening. Reminder for those of you that made it all the way to the end of the episode, you're probably already subscribed. But go ahead and subscribe if you have not done so already. Give us a rating on Spotify. Subscribe, share, follow, all the things that you're supposed to do to support the channel. We appreciate your roomies. There it is. You didn't think you were going to get through a whole episode without the alarm going off. We will end it right there. Everyone, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on The Engine Room.
Take care.